This is Transition on Atlantic Television Network. Commissioner of Police Rivers State Olatunji Rewan Delsus, represented by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations, DCP Olugbenga Adekboju, has thanked newly promoted Assistant Superintendent of Police with maintaining a high level of discipline and dedication to the service of the Nigerian police force. He gave the charge while decorating 401 inspectors with their new ranks of ASP at the police officers' Maze Old GRA Port Harcourt. He was assisted by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of administration, DCP Samuel Erele Etayifo, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of State CID, DCP Abubakar Aliyu, Assistant Direct Commissioner of Police in charge of administration, ACP Irenjuje Baranswa, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of State Intelligence Department, ACP Akitunde Oyeran, amongst other senior officers of the command. The CP said the elevation of the inspectors to ASPs was in recognition of their discipline, commitment, and dedication to duty. He noted that promotion came from God, and he had counted the promotees worthy among their colleagues with whom they started. He prayed that the Almighty God will continue to be their guide. In her vote of thanks, ASP Miriam Okbone, who spoke on behalf of the other promoted officers, thanked the Almighty God for making this day possible. She further thanked the police service Commission for timely release of these promotions after recommendation by the Inspector General of Police, and said they were aware that highly rank comes with higher responsibilities, and promised to justify its gesture. Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission has fixed the date of the signing of peace accord by political parties towards the September 21st governorship election in Edo State. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu discloses at a consecutive meeting with political parties on Thursday at the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters in Abuja. The signing of the peace accord, which has been slotted for 12th of September, will take place in Benin City, the Edo State capital, in presence of members of the Peace Committee, headed by former head of the State's General Abdul Salam Abubakar. According to the INEC board, the peace accord is to enable the Independent National Electoral Commission and security agencies to monitor compliance by political parties. In the response of the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Yusuf Dantale, called on INEC to ensure that all votes cast count on the day of the election so as to restore sanity to the nation's electoral process. All Progressives Congress and Governor Godswill Obaseki are quarreling over allegations that the governor was planning to rig the September 21st governorship poll using fake security personnel he has sold uniforms for. Specifically, the APC Campaign Council, in the statement by its media consultant Kasem Adfeboa, accused Governor Obaseki of plotting to use the state security group known as the Edo State Security Network and producing police and army uniforms to be worn on election day by its agents. However, in an account, Crusoe Osagi, special advisor media project to Governor Obaseki, described the allegation as infantile, saying that the APC was afraid of looming defeat and resorted to cooking up lies, while the APC campaign claims that there was a meeting in the Edo State Government House, where an offer was alleged made to some personnel who turned it down, adding that signs of the plot were already with him. The attack on members of the party in Akoko Edo local government area and Ewahini after APC's campaign a few days ago. National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Umar Abdullahi Ganduje, says his party is going to recapture Edo State in the forthcoming September 21, 2024 governorship elections. Speaking to members of the Kano Correspondence Chapel of the NUJ in his office, the national chairman of the APC said, as for the Ondo State, it is already an APC state, and after the former governor died with a number of problems, we were able to resolve those issues and conducted primaries and succeeded in getting the persons that they wanted. He said the North and the South-East geopolitical zones are both claiming that they have been marginalized and expressed concern that political parties in developing countries like Nigeria are usually active only during campaigns. Operatives of the Akwa Ibom State Police Command have killed a notorious kidnapping kingpin and leader of the Bring Bling Marine Strike Force, One Ubong Effiong Achibong, alias Condiment. The command's public relations officer, ASP Tim Fon John, who disclosed this in a statement issued in Uyo, the state capital, titled Notorious Kidnapped Kingpin and Sea Piracy Met Waterloo, on Thursday, said the suspect was killed in a gun battle with operatives of the command at his hideout in Onyanga community across River State, and a G3 rifles with ammunition was recovered from him. According to the statement, the suspect who was responsible for the kidnapping of the High Court Judge, Joy Omwana, and the killing of a police orderly Inspector Thank God Edet last year, while other kidnapping cases linked to the slain suspect includes the gruesome murder of the CEO of and Sons Limited and the kidnapping of the cell representatives of pharmacies Jomel. National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has accused the Enugu State Independent Electoral Commission of undermining the party in Enugu State. APC National Chairman Registrar De Barrister Ugochukwu Abala remained the chairman of the APC in Enugu State and should serve as the bridge between the party and ENSIEC. Ganduje threatened to file a suit against the commission if it continues to deal with faceless persons unknown to the party with regard to the forthcoming LG polls in the state, while a letter dated August 26, 2024, which he personally signed and addressed to Professor Christian C. Anungo, chairman of ENSIEC, alleged that the commission has continued to deal with the faceless group as the elected officers of the APC in Enugu State without verification, diligence, quarrels, or officials' communication with or from the party. The national chairman of APC informed ENSIEC the APC as the political party was not a part to any valid lawsuit before a court of competent jurisdiction in Enugu State or under any restrictive order of any kind whatsoever. Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah has inaugurated a committee to oversee the implementation of new national minimum wage in the state. The committee is chaired by the head of service Kenneth Ugwa with Sandra George, representatives from the office of the secretary to the state government serving as secretary, and Governor Mbah had given the committee a maximum of 1 month to submit its report. Other members of the committee include the Commissioner of Finance and Economic Development, Dr. Nathaniel Urama, the Commissioner for Labor and Employment, Chika Ngwoke, and the Accountant General of the State, Anthony Ekenwa. Representing the Labour side are the Chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress Enugu State Chapter, Fabian Nwibu, and the Chairman of the State's Capital Chapter of the Trade Union Congress, Benedict Nsogwa, and while advising the committee to consult widely with relevant stakeholders, especially the ministries, departments, and agencies, to ensure that workers takes ownership of the final report. The governor reinstated his commitment to workers' welfare. Anambra State chapter of the Labour Party says it will not participate in the September 28th local government area election in the state. The publicity secretary of the party in the state, Theo Egbe, who disclosed this on Thursday in Akwa, said the party would also challenge the electionary process in court over alleged failure to abide by electoral guidelines, and the Labour Party would not play alongside the identified irregularities, which explain the inability to follow provisions of the Electoral Act when conducted council polls. He urged the government to reschedule the election to meet the INEC election standard, which entails providing fair playground for all contestants, and alleged that the party's state office was sealed on August 27 without prior notice or not notice of offences committed by the party. Egbe also urged the party offices located at the Udoka housing estate in Akwa were sealed off by suspected agents of the state's government, and appeals to the Labour Party members, supporters, sympathizers, as well as stakeholders and Anambra people not to take laws into their hands. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has directed that the Onunje Eco market with a 25% cut in price should return on Sunday. The Commissioner for Agriculture and Food System, Abisola Olusanya, who discloses to newsmen at Aluswa Ikeja, pledged the return of the palliative measures during a live press conference on the eve of the recent 10-day nationwide protest at its office in Lagos. Olusanya said customers may not buy foodstuffs at the same price anywhere in Lagos despite the 25% discount application, noting that price varies from location to location. Newly elected president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Afam Osigwe, has officially assumed office as the 32nd president of the NBA in a ceremony held in Lagos. Osigwe, who succeeded Yakubu Maikaiu, took the oath of office on Thursday, making the start of the tenure as the leader of the prestigious legal body. The new president, formerly the general secretary of the NBA, secured the position in the NBA presidential election by defeating two other contestants, was declared a winner by the chairman of the electoral committee of the NBA, Olusegun Abimbola, after securing 50.52% of the vote cast. During the election, Osigwe received 20,435 votes, surpassing Tobena Erojikwe, the chairman of the NBA Institute of Continuing Legal Education Governing Council, who gained 10,998 votes, while Chukwuka Ikwozom, the former chairman of the NBA Lagos branch, came third with 9,018 votes. In his inaugural speech, Osigwe said his commitment was to ensure that NBA remains a powerful voice in the nation's democratic process, and also expressed his gratitude to the members of the NBA for entrusting him with the leadership of the association. In view of his effort to modernize transportation and ensure good condition for Abuja residents in the Federal Capital Territory, Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, has stationed another flag bus and taxis terminals in the Central Bus Business District of Abuja. At the flag-off ceremony at the site of the proposed terminal, Nyesom Wike stressed the commitment of the FCT administration to expanding transportation infrastructure in the FCT. He said the provision of road infrastructure in the FCT would not be complete without linking them to the various buses and taxis terminals being constructed according to modern standard facilities for relaxation, including restaurants.
Why is it that we cannot also have the same facilities that we enjoy when we go outside the country? Abuja is a beautiful city. By the grace of God, through the support of Mr. President, we are continuing to expand the road infrastructure. Yes, if we expand the road infrastructure without linking it with the various bus terminals, we don't think we're able to achieve what we've achieved. What we're trying to do is to integrate and improve our transport system. It is going to cut off this so-called one chance crime that is always committed. Here, this is a bus terminal, taxi terminal, where you can come in, and the management of these bus terminals and taxi terminals will know these are the vehicles that go to social place, and these are the vehicles you have boarded. For security reasons, we'll be able to identify.
Wike also promised that the completion of the project in due time. There will be efficient plans and sufficient finance enough to pay contractors to avoid the project being abandoned.
With all the modern facilities, sometimes when we go to train stations overseas, we see the facilities, restaurants, people go and watch film, people just relax. That is the way it's supposed to be in a city like Abuja. And I can assure all of you, by the grace of God, that this Green Hope agenda of Mr. President, I have said severally and I continue to say, it's not just by talking, it's by showing his reality, seeing his believing. I believe by the grace of God, this year, as the contractor has promised us, we will formally commission these three bus and taxi terminals to the glory of God. We are not going to award contracts just to satisfy people. We must award contracts when we know the funding is there. No amount of pressure will make us to go and award projects in order to satisfy particular individuals or group of individuals.
Zamfara State Police Command has condemned in strong terms the killings of their colleague SP Halerus Lima, who was killed by military personnel led by one Hassan attack to operations had during Daji. The statement by the State Police Public Relations Officer ASP Yazid Habubakar said ASP Halerus Lehman, the Divisional Police Officer of the Wosagu Division, Kebbi State, was on his way to attend a monthly conference in Berin, Kebbi, when he was attacked and killed by military personnel along the Damak area of Kuyayok, Zamfara State. The statement condemned the circumstances surrounding the death of a police officer who was said to be on his way to attend monthly conference in Berin, Kebbi, and stopped by military personnel despite identifying himself as a police officer. According to a statement, the military action are a clear violation of the rules of engagement and the principles of interagency cooperation. Katsina State Police Command says it has foiled an attack by the bandits to kidnap a girl in the Foro Village, Jibra, local government area of the state. A statement on Thursday by the Command Public Relations Officer ASP Abubakar Sadiq said the distress call was received at the Jibra Divisional Police Headquarters on the bandit attack on Foro Village, Jibra LGA, kidnapping one person, while the DPO Jibra mobilized a joint team of operatives in a collaboration with members of the Katsina State Community Watch Corps, members of the vigilante, and respond to the scene. The team vigilantly engaged the assassins in a gun duel, successfully rescued the kidnapped victim unhurt. And for the attack, as the assassins flee the scene with various degrees of bullet injuries, while efforts have been intensifying to arrest the fleeing suspect. The CP Aliyu Abubakar, while condemning the uncommon act of the professionalism and the bravely displayed by the operatives, has charged officers to sustain the ongoing onslaught against all forms of crimes and criminality in the state, especially kidnapping and banditry, for a better secured Katsina state. Yobe State government says it has not issued any statement with regard to the approval of the minimum wage. This is contrary to the speculation that government is still working on it and will provide a statement on it as soon as it is completed. Director General Press and Media Affairs to Yobe State Governor Mahmoud Mohammed, who disclosed this on Thursday while reacting to the comment described as false and misleading posts on the social media alleging approval of a new minimum wage in the state. According to Mahmoud Mohammed, it was grossly irresponsible, preemptive, and misleading for anyone to unofficially speak or post any statement for or on behalf of the state government and advise the public to disregard the misleading post, saying they will be furnished with the official and credible statements from the government. You are watching the transition on Atlantic Television Network. We return after this break. Welcome back. If you're just watching us, this is Transition on Atlantic Television Network and the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja for Beijing, China today for diplomatic official visits. A statement by his spokesman, Njeri Ngelale, said Tinubu would have a brief layover in the United Arab Emirates. The statement also said in China, the president will meet with President Xi Jinping and hold meetings with Chinese business leaders on the sideline of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. And the President Tinubu will be accompanied by senior government officials on the trip. Analyst says whistleblowers is not necessary to check and balance the sharp practices and corruption rocking the nation's civil service. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program, Atlantic Blowout, a political analyst, Luckyman Egiela, tasked the federal government on the need for the sustainable checks and balance in the civil service in order to ameliorate corrupt practices against the nation's economy.
Because if there are checks and balances, and this ungodly practices that our civil servants and other people engage in are checked and nipped in the bud timely, there will be no need. Our economy will not be this deplorable. We will not get to this stage. We have gotten beyond that stage. That is why people are now saying there should be whistle.
Egila advocated for adequate security and speedy implementation of anti-crime policies.
Because people are actually seeing something and they are supposed to say something, but because they have refused to say something, they are now saying, okay, let us bring a whistleblowing bill to see if we can persuade them to say something. But it's not about saying something. When I say what I want to say, when I say what I see, will you be there to protect me? Will you give me the needed coverage? Will the whistle I am blowing be taken?
This is coming after President Bola Tinubu had decided to present the whistleblowing bill to the National Assembly while his administration reinvigorates the fight against corruption and financial fraud in the country. Speakers of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has called for the adoption of global trend in farming and headings method amidst climate change. The speaker, who discloses, said climate change contributes to worsening the farmers-herders clash in the country, and there was a need to get rid of outdated headings and farming methods as part of the effort to address the challenges. Honorable Abbas, who was represented by Honorable Dixon Takia at a stakeholders forum to address the impacts of the climate change on farmer-herders clashes in Nigeria, also said the Land Use Act put limitations on how much the federal government and the National Assembly can go to make the changes required to address the situation, adding that the timing could have been at the better period in effort as the halting and the farmers-herders clashes, while effort by the federal and the state government was aimed at addressing the problem. The Deputy Chairman House Committee on Environment, Honorable Tosia Uba, called for collaborative effort to address the challenge.
According to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the UNHCR, there are over 3 million IDPs in Nigeria as of 2023. Most of these IDPs have been displaced as a result of conflicts between farmers and herders or by violence from other armed groups. To highlight the challenges for IDPs and how climate change impacts them, we produced a documentary called Behind the Valley. The objective of this documentary is to raise awareness about the plight of IDPs in Nigeria and to advocate for their rehabilitation and sustainable integration into their communities and back to their livelihoods. The documentary we're about to watch is structured into 4 parts. The crisis. This part provides an overview of the farmer-herder crisis in the North Central region and the impact it has had on communities in Benue State. It also explores the role that climate change plays in exacerbating the security challenges in the region.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, represented by his Senior Special Assistant Technical Professor Bolaji Babatunde, in his keynote address, said the world was akin to the rude realities of the grave impacts of climate change on humanity.
The world has awoken to the rude reality of the grave impact of climate change on humanity. The physical changes that have occurred in the composition of the global atmosphere, it's now obvious and acceptable by all to be due to climate change orchestrated by human activities in the last 100 years. Please, I know your time is fast spent. Give me a minute to make you appreciate this statement which I have made as a scientist. So, the sun is the only source of energy that we have coming down here. That's without the sun, we will not be able to cook. Without the sun, the biological systems will not be able to run. It means you will not be able to run.
Minister of the State for Environment, Dr. Isaac Salako, on his part, harped on the need for cooperation between the legislature and the executive arm of government to addressing the challenge and called for a multifaceted approach in addressing the problem. Expert is calling for fight against age fortification to check the future menace that will befall Nigeria's educational system following the ban on under-18 candidates across the country. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Society Watch, a development expert, Barry Doe Thompson, tasked Nigerians and relevant agencies to brace up against age fortification in Nigerian school system.
People will go underground and they will start the process of age falsification.
Okay.
Yes. To go around it. See, we are not ready to focus on the real issues. Is it age matter that is making the naira to exchange at 1,600? Is it age matter that a liter is 1,000 naira? Is it age matter that what Indomie of 200 naira is now 800?
Thompson tasked the ministry on an indigenous educational approach compared to other countries of the world.
The Chinese have developed a different formula for mathematics. Do you know that all the mathematics we have been learning Pythagoras, the Chinese went into their own intellectual archives and brought out alternatives. What we should be dealing with now is Nigeria should create or develop indigenous ways of approaching education.
This is coming after the Nigerian Union of Teachers has condemned the federal government's decision to ban under-18 candidates from sitting for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination and the National Examination Council, while the Academic Staff Union of Universities backed the policy. Amidst the alleged threat by the indigenous people of Biafra to attack the Imo State Secretariat, the Commissioner of Police CP Aboke Danjuma has mobilized men and officers of the command at strategic areas within the secretary to ward off any attack. A statement issued by the command spokesperson Henry Okoye informed that the police commissioner took the action after applying a visit to both the federal and the state secretariat in the state to reassure civil servants of their maximum safety amidst recent threats from IPOB. During the visit, CP Danjuma engaged with the civil servants, underscoring the command's readiness and commitment to their protection after the details, the mobilization of well-equipped operatives, and assured the implementation of enhanced security strategies to ensure a safe working environment in the secretariat and other areas in the state. According to the release, the state head of service, Raymond Ucheoma, while responding to the CP's visit, commended him for his proactive approach in addressing the IPOB threat, said the deployment of waterline security at the secretariat provided workers with the confidence needed to carry out their duties effectively. Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria has urgently called for an investigation by the United Nations Human Rights Council into the allegations of genocide against the Igbo people by the Nigerian army. The group said the accusation levied by the indigenous people of Biafra against the army are not entirely baseless, while highlighting the need for an impartial and independent investigation into the matter. Harewa calls once amidst escalating concern over the spate of kidnapping and violence in the southeast geopolitical region, particularly in the Hiala axis of Anambra State, which has been dubbed with Sambisa Forest of the southeast and has consistently supported the Nigerian government's effort to restore peace and stability in the southeast. The organization acknowledged the devastating impacts of the ongoing violence, which has led to widespread loss of lives and destructions of property, while Hariwa is deeply concerned about the methods employed by security agencies, which have allegedly resulted in the indiscriminated killings of innocent Igbo youths under the pretext of hunting down IPOB members. The rights group said the National Human Rights Commission, which said ideally conducts such investigation in Nigeria, lacked the independence required for the impartial investigations, adding that the federal government agency is not in position to assess the situation objectively, hence the need for the high-powered investigative team from the United Nations Human Rights Councils. Nigerian Defense Academy has assured commitment to adopt cyber welfare strategy into military training of its CDAT to handle both conventional and unconventional threats to enhancing Nigerians' overall security challenges posed in an increasingly digital world. They gave the assurance at the Camp Highland Battle in occasion exercise of the 71 regular courses and direct short service course 28 in Ikachia, Kaduna State, Northwide, Nigeria. Our correspondent Mike Ode, James reports.
All our adversaries need to hear this very clear. These are some of the best trained officers that we are going to commission in the history of the Nigerian Defense Academy. They are airborne qualified, they've done amphibious training and some elements of special forces. They've also been introduced into cyber warfare as well. They are technologically savvy, and I can assure the nation, particularly the armed forces, that this set of cadets are going to bring a lot of value into confronting the challenges that we are facing, particularly in the security area. So they've had an all-round training that will enable them lead men towards achieving the aim and objectives, as well as the orders given to them by the leadership of the armed forces.
Also, the commandant of NDA Major General John Ochai said these cadets are well trained in military, physical discipline and leadership training, and assured that cadets will add value in confronting security challenges in Nigeria.
You must be prepared to be drafted at short notice for difficult and dangerous and, of course, life-threatening operations, such as the operations which I have mentioned, counter-terrorism, prepared to join them in theaters of operation for the defense of the sovereignty and patriotic fervor and courage, defense of the sovereignty of our dear nation, Nigeria. But apart from mastering the tactics, techniques, and procedures, your loyalty to the nation must be unquestionable. And go forward with that patriotic fervor and courage to discharge your constitutional roles to your fatherland.
They also said the battle inoculation will expose cadets to the sight and sound of battlefield experience to counter insurgency and terrorism. Few months coming, the cadets will be commissioned into Nigeria's armed forces as junior officers after their 5 years intensive and rigorous military training at the Nigerian Defense Academy to boost the nation's security. And now to business news. Federal government has assured to support this and strengthen local industries towards driving economic growth and development. The Minister of State to Petroleum Resources on Oil, Heliken Lakuberi, who disclosed his commitment during an inspection visit to Amal Tech Limited, an indigenous hardware manufacturer based in Abuja on Thursday, praised the company's innovative solutions, stating their innovative solutions are creating jobs and making a significant impact across multiple sectors. He commended the company for its commitment to domesticating expertise and creating local employment opportunities, adding that the government's support for local industries recognize the importance of works in achieving objectives, particularly in reducing pipeline infrastructures and increasing local capacity. Lakuberi encouraged other partners and investors to utilize funds for their intense purposes to create more jobs and add more values to the economy, as well as support local industries. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says about 72 illegal crude oil refining sites were uncovered in the past week and destroyed in Rivers, Delta and Abia State. This is coming after on August 18, a vessel was said to have been arrested by men of Operations Delta Safe, with 12 suspects on board in the southern Ijaw area of Bayelsa State are in custody for further investigation. It was added that 46 vessel automatic identification system infractions were recorded at sea, while 24 wooden boats conveying stolen crude were apprehended in Rivers and Bayelsa State, and several vehicles loaded with stolen crude were apprehended in Delta, Rivers and Bayelsa State. 8 cases of oil spills were recorded as a result of vandalism in the period under review, while 12 sites set for stolen crude and illegal refined products were uncovered, and a total of 42 suspects have been arrested in connection with the incident. Still ahead, international tidbits. Speaker of the Gambian National Assembly, Fakakri Tambong Jota, has stressed the need for the ECOWAS law to facilitate free movement of people across the sub-region border rather than hinder it. Jota made the indication at the delocalized meeting of the Joint Committee on Social Affairs, Gender and Women Empowerment, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Political Affairs, peace, security, and African peer review mechanism, legal and human rights, as well as trade, custom, and free movement at Banjul, the Gambia. The parliamentarian said the free movement of persons' rights of residence and establishment are fundamental to the vision of the united, peaceful, and prosperous community, adding that member states must ensure that the national laws are harmonized with regional commitments, provide robust oversight to guarantee compliance, and advocate tirelessly for the rights and welfare of all ECOWAS citizens. He charged the parliament to focus on resolutions that will allow member states harmonizing national laws with regional commitments, saying that it involves reviewing and amending immigration policies, labor laws, and other relevant legislation to align with the provision of the protocol. On his part, Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment of Gambia, Bakuka Jaff, said the protocol on free movement of persons' right of residence and establishment is a cornerstone of ECOWAS' vision for a unified West African region, adding that it embodies the commitment of the ECOWAS members states to create a borderless immunity where individuals can move freely, establish businesses, and reside across member states without unnecessary restrictions.
The Protocol on Free Movement of Persons, Rights of Residence and Establishment is a cornerstone of the ECOWAS vision for a unified West African region. It embodies our commitment to creating a borderless community where individuals can move freely, establish businesses, and reside across member states without unnecessary restrictions. This vision does not only promote economic growth and development, but also fosters greater cultural and social integration among our citizens. Therefore, the ECOWAS of people can only be realized if all of us commit ourselves to total adherence to this protocol.
Conscious of the importance of free movement in ensuring the achievement of our objectives. In 1975, efforts were made to establish the protocol that we are discussing today. Indeed, in addition to other significant advantages, it enables ECOWAS citizens to freely move in member states without let or hindrance, and to establish themselves and engage in economic activities. And all they need is an ECOWAS passport, which began with a travel certificate which would facilitate their entry, residence, and establishment. In spite of these advances, there are still significant challenges in terms of implementation. In the last few years, free movement within the community has been severely challenged.
The Protocol on the Free Movement of Persons, Right of Residence and Establishment in the ECOWAS region embodies the aspirations of our forebears for a united, peaceful, and prosperous West Africa. It is a testament to our collective commitment to breaking down barriers and building bridges of opportunity across our region through integration, an essential driver of economic growth, cultural exchange, and social development.
This meeting without parallel to various other held by the ECOWAS Parliament is an impressive testimony to the devotion and dedication of which we all partake as a noble cause but a daunting task for our region to a greater context or extent for our continent. Therefore, as we convene here today under the theme, Parliament's role in implementing of protocols on free movement of persons, rights of residents, and establishment in the ECOWAS region, we are reminded of the critical role that this august body plays in shaping the future of our region and the continent at large.
United Nations is calling for the escalations while 5 more Palestinians have been killed by Israel's force in a second day of raid in the occupied West Bank. The Israel Defense Force said that with 5 terrorists who had hidden inside a mosque in Tulkram near the boundary of Israel, while there had been a major counter-terrorism operations in the West Bank, including conflicting territories as the operations unfolded across multiple cities. The IDF said 9 militants have been killed, including 5 in Jamin and Tulkram and 4 in the Al-Farah refugee camp, while the Palestinian Health Ministry said 12 people have been killed in IDF attacks so far. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on Israel to immediately halt its operation, saying it was fueling an already explosive situation that urges Israel's force to exercise maximum restraint and use lethal force only when it is strictly unavoidable. The IDP said Jabez was linked to a number of attacks on Israelis and was planning more crimes. Jack K. Silverland, the National Secretary Advisor to President Joe Biden, says the U.S. is not seeking a new Cold War or looking to change China's system. Silverland, who disclosed his known during a meeting with President Xi Jinping of China in Beijing, said the revitalization of the U.S. alliance, especially in Asia, was not against China. The presidential aide also conveyed the regards of President Biden to President Xi Jinping and recalled that since the San Francisco meetings between the two world leaders, the duo has earnestly implemented their common understandings and achieved positive progress. According to him, the earlier round of strategic communication with the China Foreign Minister Wang Yi in China was in-depth, candid, substantive and constructive. He said the U.S. hoped to maintain strategic communication with China and find a way for a duo to coexist in peace, while the National Security Advisor expressed confidence that U.S.-China relations would develop in a sustainable way. Kremlin warned France not to turn a criminal case against Telegram founder Pavel Durov's into a political prosecution, which has led an unprecedented crackdown on political opponents during its Ukraine offensive, and planted Durov's surprise arrest in Paris area this week as political motivated, while France has charged Russian-born Durov, who is also a French citizenship, who also has French in shape on several counts of failing to curb extremist and illegal content on the popular social media platforms. French prosecutor said Durov was granted conditional release against a bail of 5 million euros on a condition he must return to a police station twice a week as well as to remain in France, while French President Emmanuel Macron denied the arrest was politically motivated. Telegram is one of the Russians' most popular messaging app, and Russian officials has rushed to defend Durov since he was arrested last weekend at the Paris airport. And now to entertainment news. Bayern Munich defender Alphonso Davies has listed songs by Nigerian singer Burna Boy and Rema among his favorite songs. This is coming after the defender was asked to list his top 5 songs, and he mentioned Burna Boy's setting on top of the walls and Rema's Ozeba as his top second. Davies has previously listed Davido's Legend Can Never Die and No Competition among the songs that prepared him for games. Napoli has reached an agreement to sell Victor Osimhen. According to football transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, the club to cup deal once for 75-80 million euros total package. Osimhen is set to sign a 4-year contract at around 33.6 million euros a season, or 646.154 euro per week, tax-free. A release clause will be inserted into his contract with the Saudi Arabian club AI Ally, who have also booked a medical for Osimhen, who look at to not a move to Chelsea. Nottingham Forest manager Uno Espirito Santo says it is important to rally around Taiwo Awoniyi despite his penalty miss against Newcastle United. The Red falls 4-3 on penalties to Newcastle United in their Carabao Cup clash, and the two teams were tied 1-1 after full time. Awoniyi was in action for the entire duration of the keenly contrasted encounter, but Nigerian international struggled with injuries last season and did not play much during pre-season due to fitness concern. The clash with Newcastle United was his first start of season, while Santo said he was happy Awoniyi got more games time to raise his fitness, but the penalty miss will hurt his confidence, and that's the size of the package.